Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Maybe you are aware that the African delegation, some leaders from Africa, are visiting Kiev and then they will visit Moscow in order to try to make these guys supposedly negotiate a peace between the two countries, which I think they went to the wrong person. They should have gone to Washington and then to Moscow. But anyway, they are trying. Zelensky did this to them, bong, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to show you that Reuters engaged in misinformation or maybe disinformation, according to a South African diplomat, a spokesperson. What happened? Reuters reported that while the African leaders were in Kiev, the Russians launched an attack on Kiev, but the sirens starting wailing, we were. That's how they do over there. And then these guys just ran into shelters, the African leaders, because the rockets were all over the place, but the American Patriot missiles, defense systems destroyed all of the Kinzhals and all the caliber and everything. The problem is, this African guy says there was no such a thing. Reuters is dreaming, misinformation. Now, remember when it was Joe Biden visited Kiev? I can remember how long ago, last time anyway, when he dropped over there and he was videotaped as walking like that on that square in center Kiev. Remember that one? And then as he starts walking, woo, 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 that's how the sirens are wailing in Ukraine. Woo, 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 started wailing, but he's not running. He's just pok, 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 woo, woo, woo. If that would be the case, the secret services would have taken the old man on their arms and tossed him into a very deep bunker. But they didn't. But again, just to create our, oh my God, the Russians, But anyway, so let's read or at least the titles of the two articles that I'm going to mention. One, they're both from Reuters, but one is taken by Pravda, Ukrainska Pravda, and the other one is by Reuters, the Reuters. And then we have, obviously, Russia Today, I think, or Sputnik, that's going to have the statement of the African spokesperson of the delegation of Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, who's going to say there was no such a thing. No sirens, no attacks, people were just walking around. A lot of misinformation here. And I'm paraphrasing about 98% of how he said it. And I'm going to read it for you. So, let's go and see. So, let's start with this one. Ukrainska Pravda. Delegation from Africa used bomb shelter during Russian attack. Reuters reports. Okay? Got that? A delegation of the leaders of African countries used the bomb shelters during the Russian attack on Kiev Oblast on the afternoon of 16th of June. So, agency journalists heard explosions and saw a smoke trail from two missiles in the air. Got that? All right. So, let's see what's going on. The next one. Reuters. African leaders start peace mission in peace, like pissing. And Ukraine, despite Russian missile barrage. Story by Pavel Poltyuk. Oh yeah. And Olena Harmash. Very much. All right. So let's go down and see what's going on. The same thing. A delegation of African leaders began a peace mission in Kiev on Friday, undeterred by what Ukraine said was a volley of Russian missiles intended to greet them in the capital. At least two explosions rocked the capital, but Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said they were caused by air defenses. He reported no deaths or big damage in the city, but emergency services said 4 people, including a child, were hurt in the Kiev region. You got it? All right. So this is what happens with this guy. And now we go to Russia Today. These liars spend some fires. Russia Today. South Africa calls out Reuters air raid misinformation, quote unquote. Sirens reportedly blared as a delegation from Pretoria arrived in Kiev, but a spokesman for President Ramaphosa claimed everything was peaceful. South African presidential spokesman Vincent Magwenya has accused Reuters of peddling lies after the news agency claimed that a Russian missile strike sent his delegation running for a bunker in Kiev. It was not the first time Ukrainian authorities sounded air raid sirens when foreign leaders arrived in the city. Magwenya arrived in Kiev on Friday with President Cyril Ramaphosa, who along with 5 other African leaders met with President Zelensky to promote a negotiated end to the conflict with Russia. According to Reuters, air raid sirens and explosions were heard in the city, and the group was whisked to a shelter underneath a hotel. Hotel room. Squeaky, squeaky. Ukrainian officials seized on the opportunity to accuse Russia of undermining the peace mission. And I'm quoting, "Russian missiles are a message to Africa. Russia wants more war, not peace." End quote. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba wrote on Twitter. And again, I'm quoting, "Whenever a high-ranking foreign delegation visits Ukraine, Russia greets it with a missile attack on our peaceful cities." End quote. Said Andrei Yermak, one of the 4 little pigs, head of the Ukrainian presidential staff. Yeah, all right. However, no sirens or explosions were actually heard, Magwenya said, and I'm quoting now the African spokesperson Magwenya. "We didn't hear any explosions," he tweeted. And I'm quoting again, "Instead, we saw people going on about their leisurely. Everything seems normal from what we have experienced so far." End quote. Got that? We didn't hear any explosions. And I'm quoting again, "It's very strange that we didn't hear or see an explosion. There's obviously some deliberate misinformation being spread here." End quote. He told South Africa's News 24 outlet. And again, I'm quoting, "As we expected, this mission was never going to be easy, but some of the hurdles are deeply disturbing, like ... this so-called explosion." End quote. So, this is what they said. Now, you believe Mr. Magwenya or whatever this gentleman's name is or not, but if you don't believe him by his reporting, then you're not going to believe a lot of people. And if you don't believe a lot of people, then a lot of so-called historical events did not exist at the extent they say existed. So we got in murky waters here. So we have to believe the witnesses. See, that's why when you lie and you say, no, we should believe these guys reporting that, they lived through it. There were witnesses. Then you got to believe this guy as well. Why not? Well, because that runs against your narrative. So according to this guy, Reuters, involved in I don't know if this is misinformation, because misinformation, when you say something that's not true but you don't know that it's not true, you misinform people by lack of knowledge on the issue. But disinformation is when you know it's not true and you reported it as a big news media outlet. I'm not saying they did it knowingly, but it's kind of strange that you don't verify. You just gulp it from what the Ukrainians say. Hey, they reported it. There were witnesses over there. So someone is lying. Who's lying? The pathological liar or this guy that I never heard of before? I do not know if Magwenya is a or whatever his name is. Sorry. I'm trying, let's see if I'm Magwenya, what his name is. Where are you, my friend? Magwenya. So Mr. Magwenya, I don't know Mr. Magwenya, so I don't know if he's a liar or not, but I surely know the other guys are. So far it's 2-0. Once I catch Mr. Magwenya lying, there's going to be 2-1. 2 being Reuters and the Ukrainians. Not that the Russians are not lying. We all lie, but sometimes we don't. So here, obviously, someone is lying, because can't both things can't be true. Like there were attacks or there were not attacks. If there were attacks, Magwenya did not hear them. So he's either lying or he's Know what I mean? Oh, well. So, but who has interest in here to make this sound like the Russians were again evil? Magwenya or Kuleba? Well, I let you decide. I already know, and I know, but I am very much so. This is Magwenya, this is Kuleba. So my needle is, let's put it this way, my needle is not there, but it's, I give Kuleba 1%, okay, or 1 degree. Let's put it from 180. I gave him 1 degree. Maybe it was not him. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.